What up geeks, welcome back to our channel. This month we've got two brand new Souls-like games hitting the shelves or hitting the online stores or however you choose to shop for games, they're hitting it. We've got Deck 13's The Surge 2 and we've got Namco Bandai, or Bandai Namco if you're that way inclined, Code Vein. Now while they certainly share a great deal of genetic material with their genre, they're also completely different beasts. So I was planning on sitting down and doing a versus video this week, sort of pitting them against each other to maybe help you decide which was more worthy of your time and money. But having put a sizable chunk of time into both, I can honestly say that if anything, they're so different in tone and appearance and difficulty and pace that they almost complement one another. It's more a case of surf and turf than apples and oranges. For example, the universes they occupy they couldn't be more different, right? There's an element of futuristic dystopia to both, yes, but that's kind of where the similarities end. The Surge 2 deals with this near-future cityscape teetering on the brink of collapse, where humans can equip cybernetic rigs to grant them greater strength and enhance mobility and combat prowess. There's no real reason for enemies to respawn when you level up, they just kind of do. And it's got like a modern sci-fi feel. Large areas of the game are actually brightly lit, either by sunshine or neon. It's almost deceptively welcoming, the world of the Surge 2. Code Vein, on the other hand, is set after an apocalypse that saw most of humanity turned into vampires by a blood parasite. Having destroyed its strongest host, which was called the Red Queen, these vampire revenants live with a constant need for blood, which itself is in short supply. They basically scavenge for blood beads to stave off this sickness, which they call the Frenzy, which reduces them to mindless killing machines called the Lost. The world is much, much darker, it's gothic, it's baroque, and there's nary array of real daylight to be seen. And the two couldn't be more different in terms of gameplay either, particularly the pacing of the gameplay. Code Vein favours this super fast combat. Even the heavier weapons have a speed and flow to them that feel more immediate. Also, the addition of a companion, should you decide to take one with you, makes combat feel a bit more balanced in your favour. It feels, to be honest, more skewed towards multiplayer anyway, given the volume and frequency of enemies. And at the same time, it feels a bit more laid back and chilled out than most Souls-like games. Like, boss fights aren't overly taxing, and there's such an array of skills and abilities that you can build for most eventualities quite early on. The Surge 2, on the other hand, is much, much tougher. The campaign is like a solitary battle, like an uphill fight for survival that puts you alone against the enemy. And combat's much more measured. Your advances are more cautious. You'll have to study an oncoming enemy, spend time avoiding its attacks to take the measure before you attempt a counterattack. And mistakes are punished harder too, as every time you respawn you're in a race against the clock to retrieve your dropped scrap. Now, both games feature a decent character creator. Actually, The Surge 2 is perfectly fit for purpose. It's a big step up from the non-existent one in the original, but it's decent. Whereas Code Veins, calling it decent is really like a major understatement. It's a work of art, right? Outfits and accessories and hairstyles and makeup and adjustable sliders for everything and modifiable colours and poses and expressions. In fact, the only character creator I think that comes close is probably Black Deserts. But beyond the superficial, there's also vast differences in how you compose your avatar's build. Like the Surge 2 uses weapons and armour and implants scavenged and developed from fallen enemies. It uses armour pieces and upgrade materials that are taken from the world or harvested directly from your opponents by breaking their body parts. It's a brutal and ridiculously satisfying system that sees you literally rip whatever you need from the corpses of your vanquished foes. Whereas Code Vein takes the more traditional route of hiding armour and weapons in treasure chests or dropping them from fallen enemies. Upgrade material is still scavenged, or the gift exchange system lets you butter up NPCs with presents in exchange for rare crafted materials. While the Surge 2 uses implants to grant your mechanised warrior tech abilities, Code Vein deals with what is essentially vampire magic. So, blood codes alter your vampiric gifts, many of which are interchangeable between codes, allowing for some interesting build diversity, which is not to say the Surge 2 system is lacking in any way, it's just a little bit more straightforward. Perhaps the biggest and most obvious difference between these two games is how they tell their stories. The Surge 2 is fully Souls-like in this area. It exposits backstory through conversations with static NPCs and scattered audio logs, snippets of flavour text on items and gear, here. Memory fragments fill in the events of the protagonist's mysterious past, but they don't feel essential. In fact, you can breeze right past them if you're not looking for them. And then by comparison, Code Vein is cutscene city. The story is much more involving. The NPCs not only wait for you at home base ready to talk all evening about whatever, but they also join you in the field as companions, so they're with you all the time, you know, making comments about the world and what's up ahead and what you just did, and giving you advice and admonishing you when you do something that they consider to be stupid. It feels much more alive. The story's not divulged through broken wisps of text and dialogue. It's outright told to you through long CGI videos before and after boss fights, when you enter new areas or find a new blood bead, and you'll rarely wonder about any mystery for that long. Both methods work fine, and it's really down to your own personal preference with how you like a story to be presented to you. So, I mean, there you go, two games that are ostensibly the same, they share a genre, and they will inevitably be compared to one another like this, probably better than this, over and over and over again, but which in reality couldn't be more different in almost every way. So let us know in the comments, which one are you going to be picking up first? Do you want The Surge 2, or do you favour Code Vein? Which one's got your interest? Which one's got your attention? I'm sure one of them will have if you're a fan of the genre at all, if you like the challenge of a Souls-like. There's a lot to get into, there's a lot to like about both of them. The reviews, the Surge 2 review is already up at the time of this video going live. The Code Vein video is coming at some point very soon, so you see what we think, you'll get our input, but we want your input, we want to know what you think. So yeah, please let us know which one's got your interest. Maybe you've played the Surge 2 already, maybe you've played the Code Vein demo. You'll definitely have an opinion by now, so let us have it. In the meantime, I've been Mick Fraser of God is a Geek, and you guys have been lovely. Bye.